Today, we're going to talk about the Uvalde school shooting that happened at Robb Elementary in Texas. Essentially, what happened was that 14 students and 2 teachers were shot and killed by an 18-year-old boy who has been identified as Salvador Ramos. After shooting and severely wounding his grandmother, he proceeded to flee and decided to enter an elementary school. He had an AR-15 styled rifle and shot outside the school 5 times before entering the building. The Border Patrol officers had to step in order to stop the shooter. The police were waiting outside the school for over an hour before the Border Patrol officer had to step in. I remember being at home playing a game on my computer while talking to my friends online. My dad called me to eat, so I told my friends that I was going to be right back. I turned off my monitor and placed my headphones on the desk. I proceeded to walk to the dining room and sit down patiently and waited until my mom served the food. As we finished eating, my sister told us if we knew what happened at Texas. I responded with curiosity. No, I don't know what happened there. She responded with a harsh sadness in her voice. There was a shooting that happened in Texas, and we were all shocked by the announcement from my sister. I responded angrily. This is why we need more security in high school. She interrupted me and said that it was not in high school, but it was in elementary school. I dropped my fork on the plate. Did it actually happen in an elementary school? She looked down with tears starting to form. So far, it's been announced that at least 12 students and 1 teacher have been shot and killed. I looked at my dad and he seemed to start to get angry. My mom started to get worried and I started to get mixed feelings between a fiery rage and a lot of sadness. I asked my sister who was the monster that killed those children. She said that she didn't know. Later, we learned that an officer has killed the shooter. So, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Zuri Powell. I'm 31, born here in Durham, North Carolina. But I grew up in Hillsborough. I'm a sensei, martial arts teacher. Specifically, Ishinryu Karate is what I mainly teach, but I also know other styles and I incorporate that in what I teach as well. I've been doing karate since I was 6 years old. No kids. Just love teaching.
Ironically, one of my first questions is, why did you start doing martial arts?
Why did I start doing martial arts? Ooh, I love it. All right, so I can think of 2 reasons in particular. One, well, maybe 3. One is that when you're a kid and you hear about like ninjas and you learn what those are, it's so fascinating. Everybody wanted to be a little ninja. There's a lot of movies too and shows and stuff when you're a kid that have ninjas, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 3 Ninjas, all that stuff. So that was kind of one thing, and then also Jackie Chan in particular was a huge influence in me wanting to start martial arts because I loved his movies. He's just simply an amazing martial artist and just movie maker, period.
How long have you been doing martial arts for?
So about 25 years.
How long have you been teaching karate for?
Probably even a little bit longer than this, but I would generally say, I usually tell people, because the way that, when we grew up here at Shaw's Karate, that once you're a black belt, you have to start teaching. So I got my black belt when I was 14. Yeah, I was 14, so I usually tell people that's when I started teaching, even though technically I probably started teaching a little bit before that. So yeah, I guess from 14 to 31, that's what, 17 years, I guess?
17 years?
Right? Yeah, makes 17 years.
Have you heard of the Columbine school shooting that happened?
Yes.
How was your reaction like?
Anytime I hear these mass shootings, it saddens me. Quite a bit, especially when especially when a lot of young people are being shot and killed for reasons that don't even know. People don't even know what the reason is sometimes. It seems mindless almost. And it's sad because life is precious. And I think it should be treated that way. So yeah, that's generally how I feel when I hear about these things.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you because it's like life's too precious just to yank it out of someone's life, and you don't only affect that one person, you affect the people around it, like their friends, their family, even yourself. So for me it doesn't make sense to just steal a life away just like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were doing when you heard about the Columbine school shooting?
I don't. No, yeah. To be honest with you, there's so many shootings that are happening it just seems to be more and more frequent. So for me that I can't remember exactly what I was doing at the time when I heard about that. I imagine I probably heard about it from the news. I like learning about I just like to be updated on what's going on generally in our country and in the world.
Texas school shooting, you heard about it, right, before?
Yes.
What was your reaction like when you heard about the school shooter who was identified as
Salvador, I think he was in his 18th, and he killed 14 kids and I think 2 adults. One of the adults was trying to protect his children when he shot the adult. He let all his children. Teacher was shot from behind, like he was protecting the kid.
Right.
And as soon as the last kid walked into his classroom, he got shot. Well, what are your opinions on, like, as a teacher, what do you think you should do to protect the kids?
What should we do to protect kids? I think there's a lot of things, a lot of measures that can be taken that would help protect. I think there needs to be more strict laws on access to firearms, first of all. There's this fact that there are more firearms in this country than there are people, which is really amazing because there's over 330 million people in this country. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. So the fact there's more guns than people, it's like, that's... And then we wonder why we have these issues. To me, it's not rocket science. I mean, I think it's a direct correlation, you know. If you look at other countries around the world, they don't have as many guns, first of all. For me, it's hard for me to have a conversation sometimes with people about this when they don't even want to agree with that fact, because it's like, that is just simply math, you know. and I you know, I was always good at math. Math made sense to me. That's one. The other is I think that there are many programs that can be put in place that would help people look to, instead of violence, but to do something more constructive, you know, whether it be after-school programs, there would be just simply education. I just think education generally is important, but continue that education. So not even, I mean, yeah, in the school, and then outside of the school, there's a lot of times, I'm a firm believer in this saying that an idle mind is a devil's playground. I really do believe that. I think that, you know, you need to occupy yourself and your time with something that you're trying to improve on, something, you know, some goal that you have to continue to get better at, and that's a more constructive, I think, use of time than to just hanging out with you. I mean, it's fun to hang out. I understand. It's fun to have a good time. You know, I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't want to be doing it all the time because, you know, there's some bad influences out there. You know, the devil's out there.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that too, because I heard a statement where the 5 people who you hang around with, you're going to be the average of those 5 people.
Right, law of association. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you hang out with the wrong people, then you're going to eventually become, like, as bad as them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
What do you think we should do to stop gun violence?
Well, like I was saying earlier, the amount of guns is a problem. I think there's got to be more strict laws. I most certainly believe no automatic or semi-automatic weapons should not be available for people to buy. I hear like I said, I'm a news guy, and I literally listen to both sides of the news in terms of, you know, the two opposite sides of in the issues. And I don't know, to me, the people who argue for having these semi-automatic weapons, it's a silly argument to me. I mean, you know, a lot of times they'll say, like, no, I need this gun, particularly because, you know, where I live, there's these wild hogs and they just tear up my yard, and if I don't, you know, shoot. First of all, no, that's I think they're making that up, first of all. And then even if that is the case, I can't imagine that they would use a semi-automatic weapon to, you know, to shoot these. You know, it seems like a waste of bullets. It seems like just not necessary. Like, it's not somebody. I know people who hunt. I know a lot of people who hunt, and that's just not, or, you know, kill animals, you know, for reasons of, you know, trying to protect their livestock where they have a farm. So it doesn't really fit with what people really use weapons for protecting their livestock or for protecting their yard or their home. I just think that's not a good argument.
Yeah, no, it's not like you're going to use an AR-15 just to, like, kill a wild hog.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't make
any sense. And then also some people, like a lot of people say that we use it for sport. And like, okay, what's the sport? Just going to the gun be honest with you, I think that might be okay, but I wouldn't say that was really a sport. I mean, you know, like, I don't know, maybe if you were, like, professional, like, trying to be, you know, there's some sort of a tournament or something, you're trying to be, like, the best shooter or whatnot, but I don't think that's what it is. I don't think, you know, these people that claim this are just making it up, in my opinion, but, you know, that's just my opinion. I'll say it's correct. This is my opinion.
Yeah, no, like, people who use that excuse that they need, like, these really, like, heavy weapons, especially because of the Second Amendment, they always go to the Second Amendment saying,
right, yeah.
Oh, the right to bear arms. I mean, I guess, but like an arm could be like anything, right? It could be like those metal knuckles thingies to like a sword.
Exactly.
Doesn't necessarily.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could be a nuclear weapon. That's an
Exactly.
arm. Right. So you know, like that's. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that when the amendments were written, the Constitution was written, they didn't have a comprehension of something like a AR-15 to be. Nobody could even imagine that at that time. So there's I understand that you want to abide by these laws that were written so long ago. It needs to be within reason, and and sometimes the argument is just that's just unreasonable. That's just an unreasonable thing to be. Yeah. To claim that.
Yeah, because it's illegal to own a nuclear weapon, right?
I would assume so. Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. There should be like, I'm not saying people they don't need a weapon. Like, you can use any weapon to protect yourself. It's not necessarily having this huge, big, like, you just walk up in a Tommy gun. It's my weapon. I can carry it. No.
Yeah, definitely. There's this movie. I'm gonna bring up this movie. I like movies, but it's really good. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Friday. Ice Cube movie, and it's probably one of my favorite movies. But the point of the biggest message from that movie was this actor who's no longer with us, named John Witherspoon, talking to Ice Cube, and he says. He's looking at him, he says, you win some and you lose some. Talking about fighting with your fists. But you live to fight another day. Nowadays, everybody has guns, and they're so quick to pull the trigger. It really takes away, it takes away the life, and it's not, and there's nothing you don't learn anything from that. I also think I'm getting philosophical here, but I think that guns really take away. It kind of separates us even more from nature, in that if you do the act of killing something, whether it be another person or an animal, right? It's usually a more intimate kind of thing that you're doing. With a gun, it's not, because you could, say if somebody has a sniper rifle, you could kill somebody from 100 miles away, 50 miles away, and that's you're cutting off the intimacy that really is supposed to be there for good reasons, I think. But yeah, sorry to get philosophical on you. I used to be very big into philosophy. Still kind of am. I just haven't. Usually nobody likes to hear philosophers, right? Yeah. So I'll be quiet.
Yeah, my dad's really big on philosophy too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he notices that stuff as well in the streets, where now, back in the day, he would say real men used to punch each other, and then afterwards it would be fine, it would be cool, because exactly. You're better than me, I need to get better, and you want this one. As a man, I stand down, and you're the victor. Nowadays, you're losing a fight, you just bring out a gun, it takes away the reason,
yeah, right,
yeah.
Nobody learns from a gun, in my opinion. No. Yeah.
And the worst thing about it is that I heard that the military, a lot of people are against it, especially the soldiers and the sergeants. The government wants to use drones and virtual reality to use it in the war. Yeah. Which is really bad, because like you said earlier, it takes away that one-on-one thing, and and with video games as well. Charlotte hates them as well. Because
that's our sensei, in case you guys didn't. Shaw's our sensei.
Yeah, Mr. Shaw, he hates shooting games because a virtual simulation of you killing someone, and if your head's not in the right place, you want to try that in real life.
Yeah. Desensitizes people, yeah.
Yeah. This is off topic. There's this video game. It's called On Record. It's still in development, but the game looks so hyper realistic that it looks like it was a body cam footage from a police officer. Oof. And it looks like you can walk into a place as well. It's not realistic as in like in other games like a Call of Duty. It's even more realistic, which is scary.
Right.
It's and the argument behind the game is that if people start playing these games that look too realistic, it's going to desensitize people.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to decipher what's real and what's not. I could talk all day about stuff like that.
My last question is: do you think that school shootings will stop?
I personally don't see. I don't see. With the way that our government is and the way it's kind of constructed. Not saying it's a bad construct. Well, in some ways I think it is, but the polarization of our politics, I don't really see how anything's going to get better. I would love to be more optimistic about that, but just from my perspective, I don't see it, which saddens me too. It makes me very sad.
I feel like if martial arts was implemented into a school, sorry, I'm a big martial arts fan.
Oh, sure.
But
me too.
yeah, I feel like if they added martial arts into a school, sure, there might be more school fights, but like it'll be more safer because like people would understand the value and dangers of like fighting.
Yes.
And like, and since you have to like, you know, be confrontational about it, then you'll know how to like avoid things. And
right.
You know, I don't know. I just feel like it'll be better that way.
Yeah. You know, in Japan, I went to Japan when I was 16 years old. It was a cool program we did. But in most schools in Japan, they offer kendo. I don't know if they offer necessarily. There's like they call them clubs, which is like a program. Either be even during school or after school, and that's a martial art. And then I'm not sure if they necessarily like offer karate like that, but I definitely know they do kendo, which I think is really cool, and I think it helps. I mean, there's a lot of things actually the Japanese culture does that I think makes a lot of sense. So, but I can talk all day about that too.
Well, thanks so much, Mr. Pound, for letting me interview you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think it's really fun. I'd love for you to interview me again. You're very welcome.
I remember when I first heard about the school shooting in the elementary school. I was really angry and my emotions were flowing. I was also filled with fear of the possibility that a school shooting could occur at any moment, especially in an elementary school. My sensei had a similar experience with school gun violence. He talked about the experience when he first heard about the Columbine school shooting. He is a strong believer that there should not be any such thing as automatic or semi-automatic guns for self-defense. He seemed frustrated at the fact that gun violence doesn't only occur in the streets, but also in schools.